Hi, thank you for landing on my page, which is all about binge eating. So I just thought I would start this video explaining what my definition of binge eating is. So when I talk about binge eating, what I'm referring to is some people, it can be like a small binge where you go home and you're not hungry and you take out a packet of biscuits and you have a half packet of biscuits. There's no form of hunger and it's just, you just kind of wolf into them basically. But more often than not, the people I work with, that's not where they're at. More often than not, when people come to see me, they open a packet of chips, they open a packet of biscuits, they go home sometimes at night after being out for a meal with friends, or they go to the freezer and they get some ice cream and they just eat and eat. It's that incessant eating. There's no physical hunger. It's just this, like, it's almost like an obsession with food. It's like when you start something that you actually can't stop. And so that's the type of binge eating that I work with. And I have worked with many, many people over the years, binge eaters. So it can happen any time of the day, but in my experience, it more often than not happens in the evening or happens at night. So why me? Why would you come and work with me for binge eating? Well, first and foremost, I am an ex-binge eater, so I do understand what it's like. I do know how out of control it can feel. I do know how awful it can feel and all the emotions that it can bring up. I absolutely know what it is like to be in the shoes of your shoes at the moment if you are binge eating, 100%. And so I understand it not just on an intellectual level, not just from my studies, I actually understand it as in, yes, what it's actually like. I understand what the symptoms are and I understand what the drivers are. Because with binge eating, there are many, it's not just like one reason why somebody becomes a binge eater. A lot of my clients, the binge eating has happened because they have been ex-dieters and they have been depriving themselves of food for a very long time, or being highly controlled eaters, which is like trying to control every morsel of food that goes into their mouth. But that's not always the case. I've also had people who've had a lot of trauma happen, or a series of things that are quite traumatic happen in their life, and they turn to food to basically numb the feeling. And it started off as a little habit, and then by the time they come to somebody to work with somebody like me, it's out of control. So that is typically, to me, binge eating is out of control eating. Why me? Well, because I understand it on a personal level, and also because I have worked with many people and got them out of the binge eating cycle. People who've been for years and years in other therapies, people who've been diagnosed, almost told that they're almost unfixable, which I have absolutely, that does not fit with my model of the world whatsoever. Plus the fact that I'm a clinically trained hypnotherapist. So from a clinical perspective, I also use strategic psychotherapy and clinical hypnotherapy. Basically, why me? Because A, I've experienced, and B, I know how to get rid of it. So why hypnosis? Well, very simply, hypnosis is the type of therapy that works with the unconscious mind. And all of your habits, all those deep-seated habits, they reside at the level of the unconscious. So I could say to you, I could give you lots of, conscious mind tips as regards these are things you should do and shouldn't do, and you should buy these foods or you should avoid. To be honest, in my experience, that works for a while, but it's not really long-term sustained change. The bottom line is hypnosis works with the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is where your habits around food, where your emotions actually reside. That's it. So thank you for watching. I really hope that that you come on the journey. Please check out my other reviews. Please understand that, when somebody comes with binge eating, it's typically, I don't ask them for a review about binge eating, because very few people, and I understand, it used to be me for a long time, I'm very happy to say, hi, I'm a binge eater and I'm really proud of it. Very often the emotion that comes along with binge eating, as you probably know if you're a binge eater, is feelings of guilt, sometimes feelings of sadness, sometimes even that depth of almost shame. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, like I cannot control my food, what is wrong with me? There is nothing wrong with you, you just have some unhealthy habits around food that we can work on in hypnosis. So, thank you for watching, and love to see you on the other videos, or maybe you're ready to just book in now and just make it happen. See you then.